Hey guys, it's Mega. Back today with a Switch review. Akko sent over these Haze Pink switches. And let me tell you guys, these switches have surprised me.
Bitchin'.
But before that, a bit of a disclaimer. Akko sent over these switches, but make no mistake, everything I say here are my opinions. Akko had no influence on it. And lucky for them, I love linears. And I have opinions on silent switches. So let's see if that changes with these switches. So Akko has been releasing a lot of stuff for the keyboard community, from keyboards to switches and even keycaps, at very affordable prices too. They even have a sister company making its own waves called Monsgeek, with their Monsgeek M1 leading the way, and their latest keyboard, the Monsgeek M2. I'll link a review that Merkeybs posted a few days ago about the board. It's in the description. Nudge nudge, Monsgeek. Back in the man. So if you're new to the mechanical keyboard scene, the switches are the part of the keyboard that mostly define what your keyboard will sound and feel like. Now, of course, there are the other parts of the keyboard that also contribute to this, but the switches are easily the main source of the sound and the feel. So you could say it's the heart of your keyboard. So let's look at a normal MX switch. It has 5 parts. We have the bottom housing, the leaf spring, the spring, the stem, and the top housing. Now, how a switch works is when you press the switch actuates or activates when the stem is pressed down onto the leaf spring, and that creates a signal that your computer reads as an input from your keyboard. So what makes a silent switch silent then? Manufacturers use a silicone insert that will be found where the switch stem hits the top or the bottom housings of the switch, to avoid that plastic on plastic action, and muting the bottom out and the top out of the switch. So we have the Akko Haze Pink linear switches. They are supposed to be silent switches, but unlubed and out of the box. And on a keyboard, by the way, the keyboard I'm using is going to be a Tiger 80 Lite with a PC plate with all the foam installed. To me, honestly, these switches don't sound too silent. Let's see if I lube them, maybe it starts to get a little better. I've tried a few silent switches before and they really are for the most part silent. But honestly, I kinda like the sound of these switches while it's dry. It kinda makes a deep sounding bottom out. Could this be the secret ingredient to all the thocky switch clickbaits? And these switches are pretty smooth as well, given that it has a palm stem and it has PC or polycarbonate switch housing. It's really good for beginners, but of course I've never had a switch that sounded better dry than lubed. The spring is nothing to write home about. It's pretty light and would cater to the general public. It has a reasonably weighted spring of 43 grams actuation and a 58 gram bottom out. Sound off in the comments what are your preferred spring weights. I'm just curious because mine is around 55 to 62 grams bottom out, because I like bottoming out my whole switch. So Akko mentions, in its Shopee page at least, that it has a stable dustproof stem. Usually they say stable dustproof or just dustproof and waterproof for the box switches. So this is something new for me because this isn't a box switch. But then again, let's just see how tight the tolerances on the side on the side and the top wobble of the switch. So yeah, it looks like it is a pretty tight fit. It may be dust proof after all. Well, only time will tell. The switch has an actuation point of 2 millimeters and a bottom out of 4 millimeters, which is almost standard for switches these days. But hey, if it ain't broke, no need to fix it, right? So yeah, let's get into lubing these and put them on the keyboard to hear how it sounds. So we're basically lubing it the same way we lube normal linear switches. So we basically lube the important parts where there's intended friction, starting from the bottom housing, specifically the rails, and the pole in the middle where the spring is held to avoid spring ping and excessive movement of the spring. Same thing with the spring, we try to lube it lightly so you don't hear the spring crunching and moving around while the switch is being actuated. Bag lubing the springs also does almost the same thing, but it will save you a lot more time than lubing them one by one like this. And for the stem, rule of thumb is that less is more. So a light film of lube around the stem is all you need to make it feel more stable and smooth when pressing down on the switch. For the top housing, it really depends on you. If you want to lube the top part of the switch for a deeper top out, but it usually doesn't matter too much or the sound doesn't change too much. So I just leave it as is. I had to boost the sound so much just for you to hear that little bit of sound coming from the keyboard and these Haze Pinks. These switches are pretty good switches, honestly. They've actually given me a new perspective on silent switches. So if you're someone that uses his keyboard late at night for those late night gaming sessions with the boys or for work, and you don't want to disturb anyone in the house or in the room, definitely check out these Akko Haze Pinks. So let me know in the comments if you would actually use these switches and what kind of situation you're in that you'll use them. By the way, you can get these switches from the Akko website, link down below. For Philippine users, you can get these switches from the official Shopee store of Akko. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching and have a good day. Okay, so welcome to the great outdoors. Today we will try to test out these Akko Haze Pink switches, which Akko has said they are dust proof, but they didn't say they were rock proof. So since those are the bigger particles, let's try them first, if they will get inside. So first, one, or let's try two because we're feeling dangerous. It's not going in. Okay, let's try a few more rocks and then just full on dip on it. Let's just dip it in like you know, like nachos, like saucing them in, you know.
Yeah, boy.
And no, I don't think the rock went in. Yeah. Okay, now we go to the serious part. Remove all this stupid rocks. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, we have some sand which I poached from the construction site out there. It's a bit big. The grains are a bit big. But then yeah. Let's still try it. I'm dip it in like sauce again. We saucing the switch. We saucing the switch. We saucing the switch.
Yeah, boy.
Big nacho chunks. Okay, so instantly they do get in when you sauce them in. So if you can see that, it is now rendered useless because it cannot be. The dust has gone in. I don't think that was the intention of Akko. Wait, I'm trying to repair. Yeah, the dust has truly gotten in, but I don't think they're supposed to be sauced in, which is why I think the dust went in. Let's try it with another switch, but this time let's try it with the sprinkling in. So we're just going to sprinkle in. Will dust get in? So we're just sprinkling, yeah. Sprinkling. Like salt baying the shit out of this thing. Okay. Just maybe wipe them off a little bit. But yeah. Again, the dust is going in. But this is now more usable. It has become scratchy for sure. So dust did go in. So yeah, it's not completely dust proof. Still usable. So let's try it with, I think they intended it to have a keycap. So now we have a keycap on. We have a keycap on. Let's just like, thank you motorcycle for coming into my sounds. Thank you. Okay. Thank you motorcycle. Yes, I appreciate. Okay. So then we're going to sprinkle it in. No, honestly I don't think this will go in now. We have an SA keycap. Even if it was a cherry keycap, I don't think it will get in anyway. So yeah, I don't think it's changed. But there you go. a definitive and very scientific method of testing out dust proofing in the switch. This definitely is a good test. Good test, yes.